So in this question, examiner is trying to ask you about the indications of this imaging modality called ERCP. What is this? Endoscopic retrograde cholangiopancreatography. This investigation is used in imaging of the liver and mainly the biliary tract or biliary tree. We also have other techniques called MRCP, wherein the same procedure is carried out under MRI. Okay, the main advantage of MRI is it is non-invasive. So when it comes to the indications of ERCP, see, usually liver examination or imaging of the liver is done with the help of ultrasound or with the help of a regular CT. Why do we need to do this special procedure called endoscopic retrograde cholangiopancreatography? Let's see that. See, this procedure uses a side viewing fiber optic duodenoscope. Okay, so what is this scope? It is a side viewing fiber optic duodenoscope. This is important. And next, what do we do in this procedure? We intubate mainly the ampulla of Vater, that is entry point of the common bile duct. Okay, it is ampulla of Vater. After intubating ampulla of Vater with the help of this duodenoscope, we inject contrast into the biliary tract, so into the biliary and pancreatic duct. So this will give you a radiological picture or radiological anatomy of the biliary tract and the pancreas. Now you see, why do we do this? In case of obstructive jaundice, to find out the cause of obstruction, and also in case of chronic pancreatitis, we usually use this. In case of unexplained jaundice, to find out any minute causes, okay, we use this. And very importantly, to find out ampullary or periampullary carcinoma, we use ERCP. Okay, periampullary carcinoma. These are all diagnostic uses of ERCP. What is the major advantage of this ERCP? It also has some therapeutic applications. For example, while doing ERCP itself, if you want to do endoscopic sphincterotomy, it can be done. And similarly, at the same time, if you want to extract any gallstone which is causing obstructive jaundice, it can be done. And if there is any stricture, we can also do stricture dilatation. So these are the therapeutic applications of ERCP. So these are diagnostic and these are therapeutic. Now let's come back to the question. Here, any pancreatitis which is chronic or recurrent, we usually do it. In case of unexplained jaundice, ERCP might help. And in case of diagnosis of periampullary carcinoma and also therapeutic applications, like you can do like the dilatation and sphincterotomy in these cases to immediately relieve obstructive jaundice. So these can be done. The answer for this question is option 1, the pancreatitis without features of cholangitis or choledochal cyst. So what examiner is trying to test here is any pancreatitis, okay, if it is not by obstruction. See, usually if there is obstruction to this duct, okay, common bile duct, where common bile duct and pancreatic duct unite together and they open into ampulla of Vater, right? If there is any obstruction, this obstruction will cause the pancreatitis, right? Because of the reflex of the bile contents into the pancreas. In these cases of obstruction, if there is any obstructive jaundice, then you can do ERCP in case of pancreatitis. But if there is no features of either cholangitis or choledochal cyst, that means it is indicating features of obstruction. So if there is features of obstruction, it's fine. But if there are no features of obstruction, in acute pancreatitis cases, ERCP is contraindicated. Okay, so that's the reason we will not do here. Why it is contraindicated? If everything is normal, if you do ERCP unnecessarily, there is an increased risk of PEP. What is this? Post ERCP pancreatitis. So the whole question revolves around this concept called post ERCP pancreatitis. So already if there is pancreatitis, in case of acute pancreatitis, you are aggravating the problem by actually doing this ERCP. So that's the reason in option 1 it is contraindicated. So anyway, we have started discussing ERCP with the help of this question. You know the procedure now. Okay, you also know the indications and you also know the major contraindication. Let me also give you some important clinical features, that is one-liners. Okay, we will be looking at the one-liners. So first thing is double duct sign. So these are important radiological ERCP signs. So this double duct sign is seen in pancreatic carcinoma. Okay, in case of pancreatic carcinoma during ERCP, you will see double duct sign. Next is chain of lakes appearance. So this chain of lakes appearance on ERCP is seen in case of chronic pancreatitis. Next, fish eye lesion. These are all important questions. Fish eye lesion in case of ERCP is seen in a condition called, very important, IPMN. What is this? Intraductal papillary mucinous neoplasm. So in this condition, let's not go into the details, just know these basic points, that fish eye lesion is seen in IPMN. And finally, there is linear filling defect, which is characteristic of this parasitic infection, ascariasis. Please, this is very important table. This is double duct sign is seen in pancreatic carcinoma, chain of lakes appearance is seen in chronic pancreatitis, fish eye lesion is seen in intraductal papillary mucinous neoplasms, and linear filling defect is seen in ascariasis. So far in this question, we tried to cover the indications, contraindications, the brief introduction about the procedure, and also the characteristic features which are seen in various conditions. Okay. Now finally, let's conclude this session by discussing one more important topic, that is ERCP versus MRCP. Okay. So what are the advantages of ERCP over MRCP, and what are the advantages of MRCP over ERCP? So we'll try to discuss that. As I told, MRCP is magnetic resonance cholangiopancreatography. Okay, and it also helps in visualizing the biliary tree. The main advantage of MRCP is there is no need of contrast. In any case of anaphylaxis or history of allergy to the contrast, ERCP is contraindicated. In those cases, you can go for MRCP, and there is no risk of radiation again, because we are using MRI, which uses non-ionizing radiation, which does not use any ionizing radiation. And MRCP, the procedure is faster. Okay, you can fastly acquire the images, and it is less operator dependent. So you can expect a question on this, right? So which of the following is not an advantage of MRCP over ERCP? So in that case, they might give you these options: no need of contrast, no risk of radiation, it's faster, the procedure is a bit fast, and it is less operator dependent. And very importantly, there is risk of PEP. Okay, post ERCP pancreatitis. There is no risk of pancreatitis in this case. So there is no risk of pancreatitis in this case. Done. So these are the main advantages of MRCP. The same MRCP, it can detect this condition called choledocholithiasis. Choledocholithiasis condition is better diagnosed with MRI than CT or ultrasound. So if there is a condition of choledocholithiasis, MRCP is superior to CT and ultrasound. Okay. Next, what is value of ERCP then? ERCP has high value in evaluating periampullary lesions. Okay, any lesion within the ampulla of Vater, it is better diagnosed, and also it has better diagnostic capability in diagnosing primary sclerosing cholangitis. So in these two conditions, ERCP scores over MRCP. And very important, ERCP is therapeutic. It is an added advantage for ERCP. That means when you do ERCP, you can do biopsy if needed. Okay, You can also have a direct visualization of the ampulla or common bile duct, so that the biopsy and brushings can be useful for cytological study, right? And also we can do sphincterotomy as already discussed with ERCP. So sphincterotomy option is there. You can extract stones, okay, you can extract stones, and you can also put any, if needed, the stenting can be done. If you want to put, you can even put stenting in these cases, okay. So that is one of the added advantage again. So this will conclude our discussion on what are the indications, contraindications, and the procedure of ERCP, and also what are the advantages of ERCP over MRCP, and what are the advantages of MRCP over ERCP.